millions of dollars already lost and a partial shutdown of the FAA. This could have easily been prevented, but yet again, Congress cannot agree.
This is a lose-lose-lose situation that can be easily solved if Congress gets back into town and does its job.
If Congress really believes in the words that they're saying about jobs, creating jobs, putting people back to work, stop your vacation, come back to Washington, pass a clean bill.
Feels like deja vu all over again. Everybody is pleading for Congress to act, but this could take a long time before anything happens. NBC's Luke Russert covers Capitol Hill, of course, for us. And Luke, is there any chance that they are coming back? Even the president says they don't even need to come back to do something.
Well, as of right now, Peter, there is no inclination that Congress will be gavelled back into session to figure out this issue. However, what could occur, because they're in what is called a pro forma session, if either side adopted the other side's bill under this pro forma session using parliamentary procedure, they could pass it with something called unanimous consent. That would take either Speaker Boehner to sign off on the Democratic plan or Harry Reid to sign off on the Republican plan. So that's why we're within an issue right now. What's this holding up, Peter? A lot of things. Number one, 4,000 FAA employees are furloughed as we speak. We're looking at possibly 70,000 construction jobs. Those folks are out of work. Those 200 projects are on hold. Also, the government, by the end of this, could lose $1.1 billion. So far, leaders are holding firm to their side. Listen to the back and forth between Eric Cantor and Steny Hoyer.
And again, I think it speaks to the Senate hadn't done its job, and it is costing the federal government and the taxpayers money. The Senate ought to return to Washington, take up the bill, and pass the House bill. We've done our work.
Republicans have refused to work with us to find common ground.
And why is there a problem right now, Peter? Well, Republicans in the temporary extension of this bill put in provisions that specifically affected rural airports, those in the states of Harry Reid, the majority leader from Nevada, Jay Rockefeller, whose committee from West Virginia sits on this issue. So they believe that that's not necessarily fair, that it was partisan politics by the House. John Mica, the head of the Transportation Committee in the House, is saying, look, the government is subsidizing these small airports at huge expense and cost to taxpayers. We can't keep doing that. My hope is that by putting this in a temporary extension bill, it'll make Congress actually fix the issue when we get back. But as of right now, no plans for Congress to come back and do this. We can report that the White House confirmed President Obama spoke to Speaker Boehner about this issue yesterday. The best chance for this for something to occur, I'm told, from the House side, because they're not going to budge, would be for the Senate to temporarily allow the House bill, those cuts to rural airports, to go through this week. No inclination that's going to happen from the Senate, Peter.
All right, Luke Russert's at the Capitol for us right now. And Luke, we want to stick with this conversation. So joining me now is Congressman Adam Schiff. He is a California Democrat. And Representative, I want to ask you just point blank, are there any plans for the Democrats to return to the Capitol?
Well, I'm here. I'm ready to go to work. I think this is just crazy at a time of high unemployment that we have tens of thousands of construction workers who had to leave their jobs. We have thousands of FAA employees furloughed. This is just nuts. And, you know, I have to say, I think this is part of a pattern. We had a near government shutdown, then we had a near government default, now we have an actual shutdown of the FAA. This is governance by cataclysm, and not the way to run a country and not the way to try to economy. So whatever needs to happen, whatever needs to get done, we need to do. And we need to put these people back to work.
Representative Schiff, the Republican argument, simply put, that the Senate could act here, they say. Speaker John Boehner said clearly in a statement, the only reason so many jobs are at stake, to use his language, is that Senate Democratic leaders chose to play politics rather than pass the House bill. So what is, do you believe, the biggest obstacle right now for Democrats?
Well, I don't buy that. Basically, the House majority took the position my way or the highway and sent the bill to the Senate without reaching any agreement and then left town. What we ought to do is, frankly, in this near-term emergency, is we should pass a short-term clean extension. We've done that 20 times in the last 4 years. There's no reason we can't do it at 21st and avoid these layoffs. And then we can come back and we can hash out this rural airport issue or this labor issue that seems to be the sticking point between the House and Senate. But it's completely irresponsible, if you can't work out those policy issues, to hold up the FAA and hold up the public and hold up these jobs. So we don't even need to come back into town, but I'm here. I'm happy to go to work, whatever is necessary. But let's at least get a clean extension done so we can reopen this agency, and then we can figure out these policy questions that never should have held it up to begin with.
Representative, a short time before I came on set, I read this letter that you wrote to the airlines asking that they stop charging consumers the FAA taxes and pocketing that money. Now, U.S. Airways, and I think it was Delta, have said that they will refund ticket taxes. What else should we know about that? What is the status of that right now?
Well, this is what's so crazy. The government is losing hundreds of millions in revenue as long as this shutdown goes on. We're going to lose $1 billion. So what are we going to cut $1 billion out of Pell Grants to pay for this? That's just crazy. But what we are seeing is most of the airlines are pocketing this additional fees they're charging customers that are supposed to be these fees and taxes. And, you know, I have to say it puts the lie to the argument that the industry has often made, which is if you lower taxes, we'll pass on those savings to the consumers. They haven't been doing it, and they're only starting to do it because we've been raising so much heck about it.
And finally, Congressman, I guess the last thought would be, is having the President of the United States on your side a liability right now or an asset, given his now new sagging poll numbers?
Well, you know, I think it's an asset. I'm sure it depends on what part of the country you're in. But, you know, I think he was dealt a very tough hand coming into office. And he's dealing now with a leadership in the House that is not ready or willing or able to govern. And that's pretty tough. But I think the public, when they look at the disputes we've had between the White House and the House majority and the Tea Party-led caucus, has pretty much sided with the president.
Congressman Adam Schiff of California in the nation's capital today. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.